Hello, anyone and everyone watching. Welcome to my very first video on YouTube. My name is Zach. I am currently a third year in college. And before we get started with today's video, I sort of wanted to talk about why I started this channel and sort of what I hope to do with it. So I wanted to start this channel sort of as like a personal documentation of how my style is currently changing, what I love. I hope to eventually show videos of like trips to the thrift. Thrifting is a personal favorite hobby of mine. I started thrifting, I would say, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, right around when I first started high school, and honestly, just love it. So for these videos, I sort of want to just be able to look back and see kind of where my mind was at the time, and what I was doing, what I was wearing, all that sort of thing. So for today's video, for the first one, I sort of wanted to show what I've been wearing recently, things I've loved, things I've picked up. So we have a couple things up on the rack here and a couple things down below. But yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I wanted to go over are shoes. So currently in my rotation, a pair that's been getting a ton of wear are these all white Jordan 1 Yin Yangs. I recently thrifted these at a Goodwill that's around where I live. Super ecstatic, one of my greatest finds while thrifting. I was walked in the store right when they opened. There were a few people I see in there quite often. I think, they resell things on eBay, but they usually just grab carts and load them up with stuff. So I was like, I gotta be kind of quick when I go in and shop. And I was looking around the top racks on the shelves where usually they hold all the shoes, and I saw like the very top of these, and I was like, ooh, all white shoes, caught my eye. So I walk over really quickly and I'm like, no way, it's a Jordan 1. So these have been getting a ton of wear. I did have to clean them up quite extensively, but I just really love how there's sort of a natural yellowing on the bottom of the sole, kind of gives it that vintage look. Leather quality is super nice. But yeah, so that'll be it for the first pickup. Now the next set of shoes I've been wearing, I've been kind of trying to keep it to a few shoes in the rotation. I do have, quite a few pairs, and they all do get worn. I'm a big believer in the wear your shoes idea, but the next pair is a personal grail. I've been looking for these for quite a few years now. Hard to find in my size for a pretty good price, but they are the cream or milk all white Rick Owens Ramones. These are the mainline version. Basically, it's just more premium materials. So these were a find on Grailed. I don't use Grail too much just because it tends to be stuff that's sort of out of what I'm willing to pay, like in terms of price. But I saw these up for an awesome deal. They are used, not too heavily, but there is some heel drag. Part of me wasn't sure if they were going to fit. They are a size 40. Luckily, they do fit a little bit big. I think a 40 is about a 7.5 to 8 in terms of US sizing. I personally wear about a 9 to a 10. I heard that like the Rick Owens Ramones were more uncomfortable than his Dark Shadow line, which is like a canvas upper, but Rick Owens puts an insole on the inside of those, and for the mainline Ramones he does not. So luckily I had just enough room to squeeze an extra insole in there, so that's been tremendous for wearing them out. It definitely helps with the comfort. But yeah, super gassed on these. These are definitely going to stay in the collection forever. I want to move on to outerwear, jackets, overshirts, crewneck, stuff like that. So this, let's start with this one. So this I recently picked up from one of my friends who sells vintage, streetwear, all that sort of stuff. His name is Jonathan. He runs Juke Life on Instagram. I'll try to link it in the description below. But yeah, I picked up this blank Russell crewneck, super sun faded. The fading on this is absolutely crazy. Oh, it's really nice. On the arms, you know, there's like really just distinct line. I absolutely love sun fades. I think they add a lot of depth and character to an outfit. And with a blank crew neck such as this, I like that sort of oversized baggy fit that sort of just draws your eye to the top portion of the body in an outfit. Really cozy. Not too much to say about it other than, man, this sun fade is just insane. Really happy with this. Shout out Jonathan. And moving on to the next outerwear piece. This was a Depop find. I had been keeping an eye out for like a really nice fleece jacket for a while. And, you know, I always had my eye on the vintage, like, Retro X Patagonia deep pile fleeces, but I never really saw any good ones that I like the colorway or my size for less than, I want to say, like, 300, 350. They go for kind of a lot. I know that retail for Patagonia, the deep pile fleeces, like, because I do believe they still produce those, is still pretty high. It's about $200. But I found this on Depop, this oatmeal and gray vintage Retro X deep pile Patagonia fleece. I'm not too sure what the exact year is on this. I want to guess around the 90s just because it has that Made in USA tag. I'll be looking a little bit more into that in the future, just, you know, just for like personal information, kind of date it. Really, really cozy. I have yet to take an outfit picture with this on my Instagram, but that will be coming soon. Super nice. Love this oatmeal colorway. It's really just subtle, easy on the eyes. But yeah, really hyped about this. Definitely something that will be a staple of my collection, hopefully for years to come. So the last sort of outerwear piece I want to talk about, I actually found a couple days ago in the same Goodwill where I found the Jordan 1s, and the same Goodwill where I found that Stussy tote. But it is this olive green vintage military shirt. As you can see on the arms have been cut. I did not do that. That was the previous owner. And you see like these sort of folds. It was because they rolled it up and hemmed it. I personally wasn't a super big fan of how short the sleeves were on my arms, so I released the hem and tried to iron it out a bit so they wouldn't fold back in, but really like this green colorway. For my current style right now, I would say it's geared more towards like vintage army, like military colors in terms of like greens, grays, like all that sort of stuff, like neutral earth tones. But yeah, you know, before the pandemic, I was mostly focused on streetwear. And I feel like a lot of people go through that. I don't want to say a phase, because I feel like that has some negative connotations, but that stage in their style development where they're interested in streetwear, because, you know, it's a lot of really recognizable name brands, such as like Supreme, Off-White, all that. But eventually I realized that a lot of the stuff on my Instagram feed was not streetwear anymore. It was becoming more of the like vintage Americana, like military surplus. Some of my current inspirations, just to name a few, are Kyron. He runs the channel Got Swage. I think that's how you say it. Reiji Mia. Awesome dude. Love his style. Love his content. Dayona Jones on Instagram. All those people really sort of narrowed my perspective in terms of kind of limiting my collection to things I would really, really like, and, you know, stuff that'll definitely hold up and has held up. But yeah, you know, really simple green top. But yeah, so that'll kind of do it for the outerwear portion of this video. Next, I kind of want to do a quick part for bottoms. For most of my wardrobe, I tend to keep it only to thrifting. Sometimes I'll get stuff off of Depop, eBay, or local resellers. But yeah, so just to get started with one, we'll go through these kind of quickly just because I like to keep the bottoms relatively simple. So for this first one, we have just these vintage Hanes premium sweats. Just black, nice faded black. They were cuffed at the bottom, but they were super long, so I just cut the cuffs off so they're more of like a straight fit. But yeah, you know, super cozy, really essential, nice faded black. For most of the bottoms, I have to cut sort of the bottom of the pant just because I am a little bit shorter in stature, but I like to cut them so they fall just right over the sneaker. I don't, or boot, I also wear boots, but I don't really like cuffing my pants, which I definitely used to do a lot. I think it still looks good, but I think more recently I've just been cutting the bottoms. But yeah, so for the next pant, we have these workwear pants from Wrangler. They've got a bit of distressing around the knees. You know, they can tell you they've definitely been worn in. It's sort of like a faded khaki beige colorway. Again, I cut the bottom of the pants just so they fit a little bit nicer. These I got when I hit the Goodwill outlet, otherwise known as the bins, over in Sacramento with my friend Lorenzo. Super dope find. Been wearing these a lot more than I thought I would. But yeah, they're really nice, super basic, just how I like it. So yeah, vintage Wrangler workwear pants. And then lastly for the bottoms was a more recent find. I've been pretty interested in denim, you know, like vintage Levi's. It doesn't have to be Levi's, but I find that those tend to fit the waist nicer for me. However, I'm very picky when it comes to the wash of the jeans. You know, I really do like when they're a bit distressed. You know, if there's paint splatters, I think it just gives the piece more character overall. But these are just a pair of vintage 501s, just a classic pair of jeans with the button closures. It's got a huge knee blowout on the left side, which I absolutely love. You know, I think that'll make it a little bit easier to continue to wear into the summer. But this is really nice wash. You can tell it's been used a bunch. There's this distressing around the pocket on the right side, which I absolutely love. You know, hopefully I can keep these going. You know, there is a small blowout on the crotch area that I might need to get repaired at some point, but it's definitely not a problem right now. And then, you know, not to sound like a broken record or anything, but cut down on the leg again just so they fit a little bit nicer. So sometimes when I'm thrifting, it's a bit hard to find the perfect waist size. I do have a couple pairs of pants that I was lucky enough to find in my, they just fit absolutely beautifully on my waist, but a lot of them I tend to just go up a size or two just to be really safe, and then of course if they're too big I'll just belt it. But yeah, really excited to start introducing more denim into my collection, just to sort of see how I can style them. Vintage Levi's 501, pretty good. But yeah, that's about it for bottoms. I do have other pieces that I picked up, but those have been getting the most wear. So next up, we have just a couple of t-shirts I've been wearing a lot. I know in the vintage community, there's sort of like a whole, if it's single stitch, you know, it's a lot better than double stitch t-shirts. And I'm referring to just like the hems and stuff like that. Generally with single stitch t-shirts, it's a lot easier to tell if they're true vintage, just because they used to use a single needle and thread. But personally, if the shirt has a nice fade, it's got nice wear, I like the graphic, all those sorts of things, I generally don't care too much if they're single stitch or not. Sort of as a coincidence, these ones I've been wearing more recently, most of them are single stitch. But let's get it started with this first one. Arguably the banger out of these few t-shirts. A recent pickup from my friend Calvin over at It Came From The Thrift. It's this vintage Michael Jordan tee. I believe it's on a Salem tag. It's a size large, single stitch. There is no back graphic. Fade is super nice. You know, in the right light, you can see the neckline up here is a lighter gray than the rest of the shirt. This is a size large, which I usually tend to go, that's my true size, but I tend to go up to an extra large, just sort of more like for a more flowy fit, which is kind of like the one I'm wearing right now. But yeah, love this t-shirt. Recently posted a picture the other day in it but beautiful fade. It does have a couple pinholes, which I absolutely love. Shows it's been worn, it's been loved. But yeah, really gassed on this one. Vintage Michael Jordan single stitch tee on the Salem tag. So next we have a shirt I got from a local curated vintage shop in San Jose. It's called Black and Brown. It's this really faded Kahlua flight night shirt. Yeah, it's kind of just got like that aerial bomber graphic. It does have a hit on the left arm. Let's see if I can get it. It says Kahlua, anything goes. But yeah, just not too much to say about this shirt. I just really like, you know, the neck is a little bit wider. Generally, I like the tighter necks on t-shirts just because I feel like it's a little bit more flattering for my personal body type. But it's got a few paint splatters, little pinholes around here. I love that the graphic is cracked, faded as well. I just like this as more of like a flowy shirt. But yeah, there we go. So the next t-shirt I have had for a while now, but definitely one of my favorites. I want to say a couple of years ago, I went to Utah, sort of on a little road trip with my parents to visit one of my cousins, and he knows, you know, I really like thrifting, I like vintage clothing, so he took me to one of the local shops. It's pretty big down there, and I saw this vintage Pantera band tee. Now, I'll be honest, I have not listened to a ton of Pantera's music, so I know, poser alert, but I loved the fade. I love that it has both a front and back graphic. The neck is super distressed, really comfortable overall. I find that recently I've been wearing this one a little bit less just because the neck is a little bit wider than I like. But this will definitely stay in the collection for a really long time. Just easy colors to match. It's a relatively simple graphic, you could say, but yeah, definitely a favorite. Something I've been wearing, trying to keep it in the rotation as much as possible, but I believe that'll do it for the vintage black tees. So just before we close out the video, I do have two more t-shirts, these two white ones up here. I'll sort of bring them down at the same time because I got them from the same shop, same seller in downtown San Jose. His shop is called Secondhand Hustle. Really dope guys run that place, and I got these in, not at the same time, but I would say within a week of each other. I just had to go back and grab one of them. But it is these two shirts. So as you can see, this one over here, super thrashed, and honestly, this is like a little bit out of my comfort zone. You know, it's got a lot of holes, a lot of rips, some stains. It's this sort of Italian athletic wear. Not too sure what it is, but super comfortable. And the white on the t-shirt isn't too yellowed yet, which is something I like. For this other one, it's the Circle of Life. The graphic on it reminded me of the movie Us, where they have that sort of graphic where there's people going around the globe all holding hands. So that really reminded me of that movie, which I really liked. It is single stitch, really thin. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but super thin. Really comfortable on the body. Nice flowy fit. Luckily, this one isn't as distressed as the other one, which again, I love to have sort of a variety, you know, of thrash tees, tees that are in really good condition. This does have a few stains on it, which I could probably get out if I wanted to use some bleach and some methods to take that out. But, you know, it gives it its own story, which I really do like. So, yeah, not too much to say about that one. Here's the other white tee. I've been trying to add more white tees to my collection, just to give it some variety, because I do wear mostly vintage black t-shirts, but white is definitely becoming a staple in my collection. So that'll about wrap it up for tops. And that'll sort of conclude the pickups portion of this video. And before I close it out, I would like to thank you for watching. This was very out of my comfort zone. I'm not really used to being in front of a camera, but I think it'll be fun, you know? It'll be a good experiment for me to see if this is something that I enjoy doing, which, you know, today's recording was pretty fun. You know, in terms of what I want to do in the future, like for some videos, I go thrifting quite often. It is a little bit harder to do nowadays just because of the pandemic. It takes a little bit longer to get into the stores, especially if they have like a maximum capacity, but I would like to take the camera with me if I find anything cool, you know, just sort of like do little vlogs throughout the day, maybe throughout a week, and then sort of compile it all together for a video. Maybe once or twice a month, depending on what I pick up. I would like to do more of these pickup videos, just sort of maybe like a monthly favorites, but that'll about wrap it up for the video. My name is Zach. Thank you again so much for watching. Peace, guys.